This is the Barbecue Central Show podcast, being generated from a live recording of the Barbecue Central Show, which airs at thebbqcentralshow.com every Tuesday between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Barbecue Central Show being brought to you by the Barbecue Guru, makers of automatic pit temperature control devices. Visit them at thebbqguru.com or call them 800-288-GURU. And by Tasty Licks Barbecue Supply, sauces, rubs, grills, smokers, everything for the outdoor chef. Visit them online at tastylicksbbq.com or call them 800-677-2882. And by Butcher Barbecue, manufacturers of premium injections, rubs, and sauces. Visit them online and take full advantage at butcherbbq.com. And by Stephen DeFranco Jeweler, official jeweler of the Barbecue Central Show. Visit them at StephenDeFranco.com or call 440-943-2700 and use keyword Barbecue Brother to receive all the discounts. And by iGrill, manufacturer of Bluetooth-enabled temperature, which is generated and sent to your smart device. You can find out more information by visiting iGrillInc.com. Use promo code CENTRAL to get 15% off your entire order at the iGrill Inc. store. And by Green Mountain Grills, one of the country's premier pellet grill manufacturers. 3 different sizes to choose from, something to fit in every budget, and find out more by visiting greenmountaingrills.com. And by Cook Shack, the country's premier manufacturer of electronic and pellet-driven cookers, servicing the residential, commercial, and competition markets. Visit cookshack.com for more information.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central Show. It is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling, broadcasting live and direct from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening. If you want to jump into the show tonight, 2 ways to do it. If you want to take advantage, a toll-free call, 877-448-0433. You can also email the show if you'd rather do that, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Everything else you want to know about this particular show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. Here's what's happening on the show, in case you don't know. Live under a rock? No problem. Let's remove the weight and get it going with the show roster coming up in about 12 minutes from now. Second Tuesday of every month brings Meathead Goldwyn back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. So he'll be in 9:14 and 9:35. We're going to be talking about cold weather cooking. And believe you me, as you can tell by this toasty hoodie. By the way, big ups to Barbecue Food for You. There you go. This hoodie, by the way, is succulent. Very cushy, warm. It is currently like 0 outside right now in Cleveland, Ohio, and promises to dip to a toasty 2 below 0 overnight. I actually have a Duraflame heater right to my left, which causes me to enjoy, no matter how cold it is, it's just nice and warm right here, right now. So we got Meathead the first hour, and then we move to the second hour. 2 guests slotted for that. 10:14, a good friend of the show, a guy who's got his own webcast on the internet, Sam Zion, or Sam the Cooking Guy. Always enjoy Sam. And helping me close out the show at 10:35, big winner in Apopka, Florida this past weekend, the Florida Barbecue Association, Terry McKay from Git-R-Smoked, first time to the show. And you can do it as well, 877-448-0433, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. If you are watching the show, do me a solid. Send out a Facebook post or a tweet that you're watching the show right now. A couple of different places to check out. Of course, the main website for audio only, or audio files, as we like to call them, thebbqcentralshow.com, and then pick the player up at the top right-hand side if you want to watch the video on your computer or smart device, outdoorcookingchannel.com. And if you have Roku, kudos to you for the technology upgrade. I'm sure your life has been enhanced in seismic and gargantuan proportions. Go to the Roku App Store, download the Outdoor Cooking Channel app, and then the very first option before you see me and the Barbecue Central Show archives is the Streaming Now option. You can go ahead and watch the show live as it is happening every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, you can subscribe to this show on iTunes for replays, YouTube. You get the YouTube channel right there. For video replays, OutdoorCookingChannel.com for replays. Of course, the main website here of the Barbecue Central Show for replay. No reason you should ever miss anything on the show, ever. Now, because my friends at ThermoWorks know that I love them with an undying and unbridled passion, they sent me their newest product in the ThermoWorks products offering portfolio. Ladies and gentlemen, I submit to you something called the Thermo Pop. How about this? Thermo Pop. Got a handy-dandy nerd pencil case, but it's not a pen, and it's not a pencil or a writing utensil. It slides right out. You have your typical, probe type situation. Now, here's what's unique about the Thermo Pop. You turn it on here in the back. You got the power on button right there, so you turn that on. And, here we go. Here we go. And then here you go. Comes out, right? It's a toasty 69 degrees here in the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios. Now, so what do we know about thermometers? Well, you stick it in this way, and you can see the temperature. But if you had a piece of meat on the grill and you stick it in this way, well, that 69 looks weird. Or maybe this way. Well, that 69 looks weird. Or maybe you are sticking it in this way. Yep. Okay, so the reading isn't good. So the folks over at ThermoWorks were like, hey, let's rectify this situation ASAP and make it rotate, right? So here we are regular. Now watch this. Stick that, hit this back button right there. See, it says, can you see it? Let me see if I can get it focused in. No, I can't. Hello? No. It's okay. Well, trust me, it says rotate. You can do it left or right-handed. Now watch this. So here it is. We've actually, no, I thought we did. Boom! There it is. How about that? Right side up. Go back to the other way. Boom! Just like that. Right side. Wait. No, I screwed that up. Sorry. There it is. Right side up that way. How about this? Right side up this way. You think it's upside down now, but hold on. I'll fix it. Right side up that. So no matter how you have it, right? You can have it this way. That's upside down. You can have it this. Oh, come on. Am I hitting the right button? Here we go. Now it's right side up. You can have it upside down. You can fix it easily by a couple different clicks, and then you have it that way, and then you can go again this way. See, I mean, it's almost like a thermometer Ferris wheel. Now look, very front, you can see, well, you can't really see it because my camera is not focusing very well. It's also backlit. So you can see that even in the darkest of light, which of course, because I'm under the studio lights, you're not going to be. But take my word for it. This thing has backlit capabilities, which of course I liked with the new backlit Thermapen, because nothing more frustrating than being out in the middle of the night when you're looking to get a cook going and. Well, quite honestly, you can't read the freaking thermometer. So now, because it can read the light, In the new ThermaPen with backlight technology, once you open it up, you're off and running. Okay, now hold on a second here. Let me check something. Got to check that email. All right, that's funny. Oh, I lost my thing there. Here we go. So it doesn't come on automatically. Like with the backlit ThermaPen, there is a sensor in there, and if you when you eject the thermometer part, it will sense, hey, is there enough light, is there not enough light? And if there's not enough light, the backlit will come on automatically. With the ThermoPop, which comes in a variety of different colors, you will get the option of turning the backlight on right here. And then once you turn it on, well, you can kind of see how it just went on there. See how it's not on, and now it's on. It will turn on for 10 seconds, and then for battery conservation, if you leave the backlight on, it will turn off. So be aware of that. But, man, just another fun gadget. Of course, everybody knows that I love the orange stuff. Everything that I have from ThermaWorks is that electric orange. And I highly suggest that if you are a thermophile like me, you go to thermaworks.com, pick yourself up 1, 2, or 3 ThermoPops. And again, handy-dandy cooking or storage vessel, so it protects the tip. And then if you got like a little pocket there, you can stick that right on there like Revenge of the Nerds used to do. So thanks to Jesse Black and out there and all the folks over at ThermoWorks providing great service. Thank you. Thank you. You son of. Thermaworks.com is the website. Quickly, I mentioned at the top of the second hour last week, I mentioned the term Joe Beeland, or the name Joe Beeland, because I said I took Joe B's. So 50-50 right and wrong. I do take Joe B's. I know Joe Beeland, who's the pitmaster of Tippecanoe Barbecue Crew. But I meant Joe B. like Blumenstein, who is the founder, owner, creator of Joe B's, which can be found at Joe, like the name J-O-E, and Bees, like the insect, BEES.com. Love them, take them every day. That was a mistake on the name, not the product. Joe Beeland has nothing to do with Joe B's, but just wanted to clarify that because I heard that in the replay after the fact. Folks, let me talk to you about Cook Shack. Fast Eddie's by Cook Shack Pellet Grill is a smoker and grill in one. It's a stainless steel, 100% wood-burning, pellet-fired cooker that uses direct and indirect heat up to 600 degrees. It's the only pellet grill on the market that uses charbroil technology. It features electronically controlled temperature to eliminate large heat fluctuations and a dry shrink meat. Pellet grill is able to barbecue, grill, bake, roast, sear, and smoke. Cook Shack has 2 models of pellet grills, the PG-1000, fully insulated double-wall roll hood, and superior heat retention, fuel savings, maximum cooking performance. Then you have the PG-500, 2-way swing lid and utensil holder. February 21st, you can save on either model. Now until February 21st, save on either model when you order direct from Cook Shack. It's a sweetheart of a deal promotion. Save 10% off the regular price of the PG-1000 or 500. Receive 2 additional 20-pound bags of pellets for free. Choose from hickory, fruitwood, or mesquite pellets. A 20-pound bag of pellets can provide more than 5 times the cooking duration of a charcoal bag. Promo code for this sale is Pellet Love. Pellet Love. Call Cook Shack at 800-423-0698 and speak with one of their friendly sales professionals for more details. The PG-500 1000 have many great features, including 784 inches of cooking space, easy side-loading pellet hopper, fully automated wood pellet feed system, cast iron cooking grates, direct grill zone option, product killer looking grills, killer looking sear marks, nickel plated construction warming drawer, 40-pound cooking pellet capacity, and a 30-day money back guarantee. Can't beat that. It's a versatile pellet cooker that adds full flavor to the recipes, including fajitas, ribs, chickens, steak, desserts, sides, large meat cuts. They can do it all, including cold smoking. Grilling with wood pellets penetrates the wood for an intense, smoky flavor. By cooking with wood pellets, the fuel is consistent and the smoke more flavorful. For recipes on how to, check out Cook Shack's YouTube channel on their cooking guide and website. Take full advantage of Pellet Love promotion now until February 21st. Save big. Call Cook Shack 800-423-0698 or use the code Pellet Love again now until February 21st. We'll be back with Meathead Goldwyn right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we are back. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com are the two ways to get in touch with me, should you see fit. Of course, we know when this music comes up, it could mean only one thing. Yes, awesome music. Yes, great singer. Obviously, composing skills through the roof. But nevertheless, we race over the hotline and welcome back our monthly friend and contributor, Meathead Goldwyn, who looks like he's freezing to death. Meathead, is it going to be all right?
Greg, I'm calling you from Sochi tonight. In my rat-infested room where we're going to have barbecue dog.
Oh,
if I ever get over my pink eye.
You're my embedded reporter in Sochi, Russia.
And I'm drinking vodka tonight instead of wine.
Oddly enough, the room that they have you in Sochi oddly resembles the room that you usually stay in Chicago.
Yeah, I brought all my furniture with me so I could feel comfortable.
That's quite a product placement hat that you have on as well. Good for you, Meathead. Look at you.
I thought about putting duct tape over it so I wouldn't look too promotional. But
well, what can you do?
The guy sent me a nice hat. I like it. I wear it a lot.
Yeah, it looks very warm. Are you, not to diverge, but are you
I'm dying in here.
Are you Olympics follower, or do you not really care for the Winter Olympics?
Yeah, I've been kind of watching it. How can you not? It's fun. Although, I got to tell you, I got to confess, it's not the most manly thing, but I do like watching the ice skating. But somehow or other, watching these 15-year-old girls, and also in the Summer Olympics, the gymnasts trying to move like they're sexy.
Ooh.
It just doesn't work for me. It kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies, I mean, just to be athletic. Now, that 18-year-old Canadian girl, she was pretty hot, but I don't know about the 15-year-olds.
What are you talking about? The 18-year-old Canadian girl?
Oh, you didn't watch? Well, you're missing out.
I mean, I watch, but I don't know.
And then there's all the downhill stuff, and we're not going to talk about the. Actually, USA Today had an article about the derriere shots.
Derriere shots, like in for the skating?
It's the skiers. You know how they're all in those little skin tight outfits. I don't know how they do that. It must be cold in those things.
I don't know. I've never skied a day in my life. I wouldn't even begin.
The big brouhaha over the speed skaters? You know how when they come across the finish line, they unzip their skin-tight suits because they're hot, and then this one girl unzipped and realized she didn't have anything on?
Oh, come on.
That's all over YouTube. She claimed it was an innocent mistake, but she's now a YouTube sensation.
I bet she's a sensation in many different ways. Wow. How about that? Well, I didn't hear anything about it. My wife is the biggest Olympics fan. We had an Olympics opening ceremony party on this past Friday. Oh, yes, it's very big.
They did a good job. I thought it was fun,
I don't really like it myself, but, she likes it, so I like it.
I enjoy it.
Happy wife, happy life.
My wife watches it with me, so it's kind of fun to sit down together. And we sit with our laptops and our glasses of wine and watch the Olympics.
Don't say a word to each other because that's the way we do it anymore. That's how we have a happy marriage.
Hey, I got to tell you, I like my Thermopop. It's cute, and my wife likes it. I don't know, for some reason she likes it better than the
The Thermopen?
The other Thermopen, the Thermopen,
No
which is faster.
way.
It's 2 seconds for the Thermopen.
Yeah.
But the Thermopop is a quarter the price. But I got to tell you, Greg,
Yep.
when you were rotating and you said the 69 upside down doesn't look right, you need to think more about how 69
Yeah,
works.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Uh,
It was correct and wrong all at the same time. All right, Meathead.
I'm glad to hear you're Spartan and you're living in your basement with it 69 degrees and you're conserving energy as the Carter administration requested us to do so.
Yes, that's right. We always live by the Carter administration, even in 2014. All right, Meathead, let's get into it. We're talking a couple different subjects tonight. One, boy, near and dear to both of our hearts, and anybody that pretty much lives in the Northeast and Midwest portions of the country. I don't know even if over the last 3 or 4 years I can actually remember a winter that, A, it has snowed as much as it has, and then has been as cold. The last 4 of 5 Tuesdays here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city have been below zero ambient temperature overnight. Schools have been closed because it's too cold to send the kids to school because you got walkers. So cold weather cooking advice couldn't seem more poignant than it is right now. So where do we start with this? The move to Florida?
That's a good idea.
Yes.
Where's our friends from the Florida Barbecue Association? Let's call them up and tell them, ask them if they got a couch for us.
It's brutal out here these days.
Oh, and ditto here in Chicago. I wanted to digress just a second before we get into that, and tell you about two things that I know. You and I got my glasses all tangled up here. You and I have corresponded with Patio Daddio, John Dawson, and Robin, and a few others about Bubba's Q. Do you remember Bubba's Q?
Well, nobody knows him more than me because he was an ex-Cleveland Brown, and his barbecue restaurant is on the west side of Cleveland, in Avon, Ohio.
Let me give the background on it, and then we'll get to the cold weather cooking. But I wanted to report on this since we corresponded about tonight's topic. I have finally received my order of Bubba's Q.
All right. Are you ecstatic?
If anybody watches the Shark Tank, it's a fun show. And if anybody wants to start a business and they want to know how to raise capital, this is a real lesson in
selling yourself to the devil.
How to sell a business concept, what you need to know to get a business concept across to the money people. I sat on some similar panels at Cornell years ago in the business administration department, and one of the contestants a few months ago was a guy. His product was Bubba's Q. What was the man's name? Do you know him?
It's Al Bubba Baker.
Al Bubba Baker, of course, right. I mean, NFL fans will remember Bubba Baker. Played for Cleveland. I think he also played for Cincinnati.
Detroit Lions was Rookie of the Year in defense. Yes, you're right.
And he started a barbecue joint.
Yep.
And he has perfected, he claimed, and patented a method for extracting bones from slabs of ribs because his wife didn't like to eat ribs because they were so messy.
Guess what, Meathead?
Go ahead.
Time for a new wife. You got to be kidding me.
I'm not going to touch it. But, it's anybody who's cooked ribs knows that if you twist that bone in there after it's thoroughly cooked, you can practically pull it out. Well, I presume that's what he's done, and that's what his patent is to cook the meat all the way through, and then he pulls the bones out and compresses them, and he sells them. This is the label off the package. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep. Hold on. Let me pump you up here. There you go.
There you go.
Baby back rib steak, deboned.
Rib steak. He sells it as a steak, and it comes in. And I got pictures of it, but I didn't get them to you in time for tonight. But I ordered two immediately after the show, and they came in finally 2 months later. Wow! I hope the shark who invested in him is aware that they have some production and customer service issues. But it came in. 8 ounces, both of them in and around the 8-ounce weight range, and about the size of a medium-sized 8-ounce ribeye. All the bones pulled out. If you flip it over, you can see where the bones have come out. All right. The membrane is still on there because that is essential to hold the whole thing together.
Sure.
but it's fully cooked, rubbed, and not much sauce, if any at all. We followed the instructions on the package and had ourselves a below average barbecued ribs steak sandwich, dinner.
Yeah.
And I don't think this is going to catch the world on fire, not based on my experience. They were pretty badly overcooked. We just warmed them in the microwave as per instructions. You can warm them in the oven or on the grill, but they were, really barky around the edges and overcooked. And I hope that the shark who invested in it didn't put too much money into this product.
Well, it was that Damon, what's his name guy that
is he the guy?
Did Fubu, and I think there was a battle of who was trying to get Al Bubba Baker's buy-in. And but they were both going to the same. We have to, you have to sell the licensing, but you got to get a big producer of pork in order to make this happen. So
which makes a lot of sense from a business standpoint.
Yes, but obviously it didn't work because it took 2 months for you to get it.
Well, I would assume it took 2 months because he was on national TV and everybody had to order some, me.
Wouldn't you take into account?
I mean, I go and eat McRib. I mean, I got to try. Well, I did once long ago, but then I took it apart and photographed it.
This isn't filmed live. They have build-up time here. They have time to source the proper people. They know it's national television. It's going to be potentially a huge hit for everyone that you sign. So it seems odd that there would have been such a big holdup right off the bat. And then, so how much were these?
Geez, I forget. I think they were in the $20 or $30. I forget.
For two or for each?
They were not cheap. They what you might pay for a slab of ribs in a restaurant or more. Right. I forget. It's my business, so I just buy whatever is out there.
Right.
I don't know. My wife, who is not a huge fan of eating with her fingers, wasn't impressed either.
Yeah, so overall, not a great flavor profile, and just bit.
No. Maybe he'll get it straightened out in the future, but if you've got a friend or family member who doesn't like eating ribs with their fingers, this is not going to solve the problem.
All right. Well, the other thing that we've come to know over our time together, Meathead, is what you consider to be a good rib is probably not what the vast majority of the consuming public would consider to be a good rib. So it might be right up their alley, and this guy could be finally moving the hell out of Cleveland.
I don't know. I think what the vast majority of the public likes to a good rib is something that's really tender and falls off the bone. I call it boil-barbecue.
Yeah.
This was the exact polar opposite. It was overcooked and tough.
All right. Well, so let's forget about barbecue for now.
Can I tell you about one more thing before we get into the cold weather topic?
If we ever get there, yes.
We got an hour. I went to Chicago's beautiful Oriental Theater last week and joined about 2,000 people to see Alton Brown live on stage. The Food Network star is now traveling the country doing a 2-hour stand-up.
Like comedy?
And it's not bad. If he's coming to your town, he's worth seeing. There's some oddities. He brings a couple of guys with musical instruments from his show, and he plays guitar and sax not all that well. Better than Bubba's Barbecue, but he's not a musician, and his songs lyrics are kind of funky and funny, but it's a good show. He's got a lot of farting and belching yeast puppets floating around, and he does some fun stuff, and he talks at length about his theories and philosophy of food, and it was a fun evening. We enjoyed it, and his crowd was a rabid Alton fan crowd. I am a fan. So if you see it coming in your neighborhood, it's not cheap, but worth going to.
So what is it, something like a one-man show?
Yeah,
you say
he says he
stand-up.
wants to do stuff that they won't let him do on the Food Network, and amongst that is fart jokes. And
so he's doing stand-up comedy?
Yeah, it's sort of stand-up. You know how Alton is. He talks, and there's humor, and I mean, it's food stuff and it's cooking stuff. And he one of the highlights is he says 10 things he's learned about food. And it's sort of like they've got a big projection screen over his head, and he projects almost like a PowerPoint over his head about the 10 things he's learned about food, and some of them are very thoughtful and profound. For example, he talked about salt and how important it is in food, and all the problems that we hear about too much salt. He says that's with fast food. You've got to salt your food at home. It's not too much. And, he made that point really well and powerfully. And then there was other funny stuff, like about the time that he was judging Iron Chef, and one of the chefs tried to put trout in the ice cream. And how long it took him to get that taste out of his mouth.
Yeah. Fish sorbet. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
All right. So look, who cares about what you're doing, Meathead? Let's talk about cold weather cooking. It is cold, and there's things that need to be taken into account for the people that enjoy these seasons. And for us here in Cleveland, the longest season is winter. No doubt about it. We get a week of spring. We get a week of fall. We get 7 months of winter and, maybe 3 weeks of summer if we're lucky. So what do we need to be taking into account here?
Well, if the enemy is, of course, cold.
Yes.
And rain and snow and sleet and wind. And in many ways, wind is your worst enemy. But what happens is a lot of things happen. And by the way, if you have a ceramic grill or a Kamado, you can go watch the Olympics now,
right?
Because
get out.
You don't have this problem.
That's correct.
Which is really the strongest point for owning a ceramic or one of those double insulated or any kind of insulated grill, even like a backwoods or something. I mean, the insulated machines don't normally have this problem, but Weber Smoky Mountains and thin metal cookers, even the pellet smokers run into these issues because the heat on the inside warms up the outside, but not very effectively because the heat from the outside of the grill or the smoker is immediately wicked away by the cold air.
Yep.
So you really need more fuel. I mean, that's the first thing. If you're not used to cold weather cooking, you've just got to start with more fuel than you had to begin with. Wind exacerbates the problem. And one of the issues here is your fuel needs oxygen to burn. And so the air that it's getting is cold air. It's pulling in cold air. So that affects the burn temp.
Yeah.
So you're not just chilling the outside, but the oxygen being pulled in is also colder, and that lowers the temperature. The other issue you have is the meat is humid, and if you're using like a Smoky Mountain with a water pan or something, that humidity condenses heavily on the inside, and it can even run off the inside. I've seen it just, I lift the lid and the steam comes out and it's running off. It gets all over my clothes. That steam can be a real issue. So that the easiest and the best thing is to build some sort of protection and shelter. And I sent you some pictures I asked my Facebook friends how they solve cold weather. And this is the simplest and most basic is just a couple of sheets of plywood.
Yeah.
They will put a significant damper on the wind, or you can just put it up against the corner of the house. Just be careful if you've got plastic siding or something, and look out for your overhead, the eaves of the house, or tree branches. But it's not really a big problem. But this is a very simple, basic, throw up a couple of sheets of plywood. The next solution is this is a welder's blanket.
Yeah.
Now, I do have an article on my website about this subject with these pictures and more, and links to where you can get welder's blankets and other things. But welder's blankets, pardon me, it's cold. Welder's blankets are designed to withstand sparks and hot metal, and so they can lay on top of the cooking chamber. In this picture, you can see is an offset smoker, and you want to keep it off of the very hot firebox if you can. But welder's blankets can take quite a bit of heat, and it's a good technique, and it will block wind, hold in temperature, and reduce your fuel and stabilize your cook significantly. And you can also see in this picture that the guy, if I'm looking off to the left, it's because I have two monitors here. This guy is also caulked around the door of his firebox so that he can control the airflow in there. And that's a good idea in hot or cold weather. The next slide.
I'm going to stop you right here because we've gone a little long. We're going to go do a quick read here for my friend, the official jewelry sponsor of the show, Stephen DeFranco. Look, if it's one thing I know, how many years in a row have you screwed up this thing that is literally coming in a matter of days? Folks, maybe you didn't realize that Friday is Valentine's Day. Well, you've screwed it up for years and years. You have not heeded my advice and gone to StephenDeFranco.com. That's DIFRANCO. And taking a look at the inventory. Maybe your lady or fella or same-sex lover is a watch guy, gal, or person. Maybe you're looking for diamond rings because you want to make Valentine's Day the day where you make the leap and make a lifetime commitment. Maybe you're just looking for some artisan wood bowls or some Venetian glass jewelry or those Camille-style bracelets, which the Pandora style has made very famous. All of these things can be yours at drastically reduced prices. Don't go to the chain stores. Don't hurry over there and have some guy in a suit that doesn't fit upsell you on a bunch of stuff that you don't need because he's looking to fatten his commission check. We don't want that. Talk to Steve. If you can't go to him in Willoughby, Ohio, call him on the phone, 440-943-2700. Ask for Steve. He will get on the phone. He owns the joint, so you're talking to the top man when it comes to that particular business. And say, hey, Steve, I'm looking to generate this type of a mood or elicit this type of reaction. We'll work on the budget. He'll ask you a bunch of different questions, but he's never there to make you do something that you don't feel comfortable with because he wants to keep you not only for this purchase, but ongoing. And that's why I really, truly enjoy dealing with Steve when I buy all of my jewelry, whether it be for me or the ladies in my life. And I think you should really check it out, too. Again, StephenDeFranco.com. That's DIFRANCO. Call him, 440-943-2700. Then ask for Steve when he gets on the phone. Tell him you're a barbecue brother or sister, that you're ready to make some purchases after you get all the information. He'll take it from there. Steve's a great guy. Plus, on top of all of that, he's a barbecue and a grilling guy as well. He's got the, I believe it's the Ace of Hearts cooker or the Good One smoker, whatever it's called. So he's a cooker first and then also happens to be in this business trying to help you out. Don't screw up Valentine's Day again like you did last year and the year before. Take the bull by the horns. Get on the horn, 440-943-2700. And call Steve right now, and he will take care of you. Again, StephenDeFranco.com. That's StephenDeFranco.com. More with Meathead and cold weather cooking right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we are back, joined by Meathead Goldwyn from AmazingRibs.com. If you've never been there, you're missing out on a tremendous amount, a wealth of information, as it were, when it relates to the topic that we talk about. Meathead, so we're talking about the cold weather cooking, and we're going through some slides here, and we just saw the welder's blanket. But here's the next one, and of course everybody knows what that is. That is a hot water heater insulator thingy.
Yes. Yeah, and by the way, just before we get in there, I like to digress. I was just in your chat room.
I'm not in there, by the way.
I know, and I was there the night you announced it, and there was some serious feedback about people feeling like you had dissed them, and there's some good stuff in there. I just went in there. There's a lively discussion going on. Well, first of all, somebody went and checked the price on Bubba's, and they're $35 or so for 2 of the 8-ounce steaks. So that's what I paid for.
Does that include shipping?
And they're about 8 bones each, 8 ounces or something like that.
Does that include shipping?
I think so.
Better.
Darn
Holy
it,
crap.
I didn't notice that. And
That's
the
a
other
lot.
discussion going on is a lot of people are talking about the inexpensive Kamados like the Acorn and the Bubba Keg.
Yep.
And Max Good, the guy who tests equipment for me now, full time. I got a full time guy testing hardware for me. And by the way, today I just hired a man to test thermometers for us, and we're going to do some pretty heavy pounding on thermometers to get some real data as to how accurate they are.
Wonderful.
Max right now has a Bubba Keg, a Primo, and a Big Green Egg, and he's playing with them side by side in this cold weather, so it'll be interesting to hear what he learns about that. But in any case, you really ought to pay attention to the chat room. I know you said that it distracts you.
It does. I'm a host, goddammit.
This is the age of interactivity, my man.
But I am a mental midget, and if something draws my attention away, it's the guest that suffers. I think my shows have been the best ever.
You have to multitask.
Of course.
The hot water heater is a good approach. You got to be careful about insulation of hot water heaters, obviously, because they can catch on fire. On a Weber Smoky Mountain, there's a little bit of risk here because, as you can see, it's sitting on the ground, and therefore it's close to the firebox or where the charcoal is, and so you got to be real careful. Keep an eye on that, and I always keep a fire extinguisher on my grill deck at all times. ABC, I think, is the ratings. It's rated for all, because grease fires happen. I have an article in my food safety section where we talk about fire extinguishers and which are the proper ratings. And I keep one around, keep one handy in case something goes wrong. But there are special switch slides, if you would.
All right.
This is not hot water heater stuff. It's a special metallic coated insulation material, and I have a link for it. I forget the brand name right now. Let me see if I can find it. But this guy took an old dog crate and just disassembled it, and it's hinged at the edges, and built it out of an old dog crate and this insulation material. And as you can see, it hinges and opens and closes, makes easy access. And now when you do something like this, you've got to be careful not to obstruct airflow.
Oh, I was just going to make that point because if you go back to that other slide, and of course this sucks for the people that do audio only on the show, which is about 95% of people. But look, if something is hitting the ground, you have to make sure. And I used to know back when I was allowed on the virtual Weber Bullet, people would cut out on the bottom where the vents were to allow the airflow to continue in, but also maintain the insulation that the hot water insulation was giving you. So, on something like this that we're looking at, I mean, it's closed right to the ground. You got to make sure that you can have air get pulled in there through the bottom. Otherwise, you're kind of screwing yourself and you don't even know it.
Right, and I just had this discussion with a guy who was building this beautiful, gorgeous outdoor kitchen, and he was going to build into it a little alcove for his Weber Smoky Mountain, and there was not going to be adequate airflow, and I had to, alert him to this issue. But, yeah, you want to be careful. Cut out air spaces along the bottom should you do something like this. Make sure there's room for airflow. Yeah, and it's too bad. But I think for those people who come live, they get this benefit because almost always when I'm on the air, I bring with me pictures. It's just a message to those folks listening to the podcast that come on down live.
Yeah.
This picture is a gas smoker. And he has done a really nice job of cutting out space for the handles and the doors and the hinges. And I just double-checked. The name of the product is called Reflectix, Reflectix. And it's especially heat-resistant. And I have a link to it and information on my website in the article on cold weather cooking where the listeners can see this and see these same pictures and see the links. This is my favorite. This guy wins the prize for the most ingenuity. He calls it Fort Smoky. For those who are not watching, he has just gotten his snowplow out and dug a trench like World War I through the snow, which is at least 5 feet high.
Yeah.
And at the end of the trench, he's carved a little alcove, and there sits his Weber Smoky Mountains, surrounded on all sides by snow.
It's great.
Absolutely great wind break, and really clever solution. And then the last one, this guy has a permanent solution, and I love this. He's just built a wooden box with a roof with an overhang, and then it's also lined with this Reflectix type stuff.
Yep.
And he's put a metal pan at the bottom to catch any coal ash and things that fall through. And that's an all-weather, all-season type dinghy, which he can use in the summer and the rain and the wind and the snow. And it's on wheels, so he can rotate it so its back faces the wind.
Great.
Clever solution.
Absolutely.
So there are, we looking at mostly Weber Smoky Mountains here, but they're among the worst problems because it's such a thin metal.
Well, look, we were talking just about how I had the Olympics party, and part of the party catering that I did was the chicken wings on my Grilla pellet cooker, and it was freezing frickin' cold out there on Friday night last week, and my 20-minute anticipated wing cook at about 375 to 400 degrees turned into 45 minutes because that cooker would not get up to temperature because it was wicking away the wind, and it's a piercing wind. So I literally creeped it into the garage just to get the wind out of it. Then the temperature shoots right up. And, nothing unsafe, of course, but it made all the difference in the world, and then 15 minutes later, everything is fine. But if I would have left it out there, they could still be on there. I mean, people have to take that into account.
That little last slide, that little house that guy built, it's like a little outhouse.
Yeah.
For those who can't see, he built like a little customized outhouse, not much bigger than the Weber Smoky Mountain. That's a great solution. It's just like being in the garage. You can roll it around. And, I mean, it's small for a Smoky Mountain, but you could do something similar for a pellet smoker or something like that. Wind is I don't know. I haven't measured it, but wind is probably just as bad as snow and rain. It's all your enemy.
Here's the other thing that people need to take into account when it comes to the cold weather. If you're using charcoal or even wood, it's not hot out like it is in the summer where, I remember back when I was only cooking on Weber Smoky Mountains and it was a hot, humid night. I could load that thing up with charcoal. I could literally get 21, 22 hours of burn time, no temperature control systems or nothing. Dialed it in, and it was good to go. You get out in the winter, you have to account for the fact that fire has to work that much harder to heat the cold air and to keep the same temperature that you had it at in the summer. Now in the winter, you're going to be in for a little refuel, maybe 2 times if you're not doing everything that you can to block wind and so forth.
Yeah, and this is a good time to discuss those of you who use the Minion method, who like to put hot coals on top of cold coals or vice versa, that it may be time to ditch that. It may be time to just load it up with hot coals. I'm still a believer in water in the water pan. We haven't had that discussion here. I know a lot of people over on the Weber Smoky Mountain. I have to hear the story about why you're not allowed over there anymore.
Oh, it's a long story.
Oh, one of these days you got to tell me.
I will.
But there's a lot of folks over there who like to put sand or other solid heat-absorbent materials.
Foil balls.
Yeah, water does the heat absorption and radiation very, very well, just like sand will. But the water adds humidity, and heat draws humidity out of meat.
Doesn't really.
Go ahead.
It doesn't really add humidity. It's not boiling water.
No, but, still, boiling water puts steam in the air, but water starts reaching escape velocity, if you will, at a lower temperature, closer to 180. It comes out. It does put steam in there, and you can tell. Just put a pan of water on the stovetop, and don't bring it to a boil. And you can hold a mirror over it, and it'll fog up pretty quickly. Well, look, hey, you go to the shower, you take a shower, and that's not boiling hot water, and you come out, and your mirrors are fogged up.
I think it's important to point this out. I'm not disagreeing with the fact that it is putting humidity into the cooker, but if somebody is under the impression that using a Weber Smoky Mountain with water or whatever freaking fruit juice you're going to put in there because you think you're all sorts of fancy pants and is going to add or enhance, or that's the end-all be-all of making your brisket juicy and moist, it's completely false.
No. You're absolutely right. It's not going to make a massive difference, but it's going to make a slight difference. And as we have discussed in previous shows, smoke sticks to wet surfaces. So if you're putting moisture onto the surface of your meat, you're making a smoke magnet. But on the other topic you touched on, putting fruit juice or beer or onions or other things in there, total waste of money. The flavor molecules in beer are measured in parts per billion. Compared to the number of flavor molecules in your rub, in your sauce, in the smoke, it's infinitesimally small. You will, in a side-by-side tasting, if you put beer in one and water in the other, you'll never in a million years taste a difference. It makes no difference. It's just a feel-good thing.
That's why I tell people when they're making beer can chicken, don't be a fool. Dump the beer out and drink it yourself and just replace it with, don't be a fool.
Don't be a fool.
Right. It's ridiculous.
Plus the fact we've talked about beer can chicken. You've lined the inside of the chicken with a metal jacket now, so there's no way for moisture to enter the chicken. It's absolutely silly.
What other cold weather cooking tips do we need to get in here in the next?
That about covers the best for me. I haven't looked over in the chat room to see if others have piped up, and I know you haven't. But I think that's the main topic here is just beware. You're going to need more fuel. Beware, moisture is going to condense on the side. Beware, wind is an enemy. And if you can build some sort of shelter or protection or insulation, it'll take you a long way.
Do you have like a new article or anything that you're working on that is soon to be finished that we can be looking and perusing on AmazingRibs.com?
Yeah, actually, I did. I published it a couple of weeks ago in the middle of the vortex with all the pictures that you showed tonight and more, as well as links to places where you can buy welding blankets and Reflectix and other insulation materials. So it's called Cold Weather Cooking. And the best place to start on my website is table of contents.
All right. Meathead Goldwyn, the creator of AmazingRibs.com. Of course, okay, well, I'm going to be redundant. I was Amazing Ribs. You can find it at AmazingRibs.com. You can get in contact with Meathead, always on there, replying and helping people if you have any questions. And it's a fabulous resource for anything that has to do with this little passion that we so eloquently adore. Meathead, always appreciate the time, and we see you at the second Tuesday in, can you believe, I'm going to say, the second Tuesday in March.
Is that now? Are we not getting into New Orleans and Mardi Gras tonight? We're going to do that another time.
Your time is over, Mister.
Time is up.
Yeah, you were too busy messing around with
New Orleans cooking and barbecue shrimp.
We don't have enough time. We can do that next month.
Next month, all right. Well, Mardi Gras is on a Tuesday. That's March 4th.
Fat Tuesday.
Yeah, that's too late. Okay, we'll do it another time anyhow.
Next year.
Next year.
Make a date. All right, Meathead. Thanks for coming.
Everybody, happy Mardi Gras, and hope you guys thaw out in the north and in the south. Save a couch for us.
There he is, Meathead Goldwyn, ladies and gentlemen. Again, AmazingRibs.com is the website if you want to check them out. Again, lots of great stuff on there for you to check out and try out for yourself. Quickly, I talked to you about Tasty Licks Barbecue Supply. Trusted online retailer of this show, longtime supporter of this show. I'm typically in pretty frequent contact with Fred Bernardo over there. And as always, wanted me to make sure that you understand that you can get a lot of different cookers over there. All the Weber products are there. All the Big Green Egg products are there. Meadow Creek cookers are there. Kamado Joe cookers are there. The Bradley smokers are there. If you're looking for a vessel, a new vessel, an additional vessel, this is the place to go. Tasty Licks Barbecue. Now, maybe if you're looking for these rubs and sauces, they keep coming out by the dozens every day. Oak Ridge brines and rubs are there. Plowboy stuff, Smoke on Wheels products. Tasty Licks has them all. And, of course, as I just mentioned, Tasty Licks, the Big Green Egg headquarters, including many items you can't get anywhere else for the Big Green Egg. Fred is partnering with people, saying, hey, I think this would be a great idea if you did this or if you did that, or let's partner together on this product. And they're specifically made for Fred and the gang over at Tasty Licks. Why wouldn't you go over there and check it out, especially if you have a Big Green Egg? He's carrying Harry Sue's chicken rub. He's carrying Tasty Licks. He's carrying Tasty Licks rubs and sauces. You got to try those. He's carrying Cosmo's Q and Butcher's barbecue injections, the Barbecue Guru, all their associated accessories. He's a Green Mountain Grill dealer as well. He's providing classes to the public. Sometimes pizza classes. Fred big into pizza. You big into? I love pizza. I will eat the ass end out of pizza all day long. Attention Pardon me. Attention teams, Tasty Licks, your competition headquarters as well. Supplies for competition teams and pans in different sizes, the aluminum trays, the gloves, thermometers, turn-in boxes for practice. Make it your one-stop shop. TastyLicksBBQ.com, the place to go. So head on over now. Enjoy those videos that Fred puts up as well. Plenty of them to check out. Don't forget, as I just mentioned previously, Tasty Licks manufactures their own lines of rubs and sauces as well. Got to try those. When you order, drop Fred a line that you heard about him here on this show. Let him know his support of this show is appreciated. Again, TastyLicksBBQ.com. That's TastyLicksBBQ.com. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this and take a quick peek in the second right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we are back. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Facebook post coming in from Jeffrey Starks. Check out Greg Rempe broadcasting his Barbecue Central radio show live on the Outdoor Cooking Channel. P.S. He's originally from Saratoga Springs, New York. How about that? Jeff lives in Mechanicsville, New York. I, of course, being originally from the upstates of New York, know Mechanicsville. My dad used to go to Mechanicsville for work when he was at Kodak, along with such places like Lake Placid, Schenectady, Albany. Shout out, ladies and gentlemen, to the upstate New York people. What's happening? Hopefully you've decided to tune in at Jeff's request. I know I would consider it a personal thank you if you did. Plus, Jeff's taking a picture of, I'm guessing, his computer screen. Maybe he's got Roku. Jeff, are you listening via Roku? Or watching via Roku? That would be even cooler. Like, it wasn't cool enough that you were just outside of my old hometown in Mechanicsville. Good for you. All right, special thanks to Meathead Goldwyn for joining me the past two segments. Admittedly, we diverged a little bit on the front side of the first segment that we were talking. But sometimes you got to talk about the topical stuff. The Olympics, the fact that Meathead is watching 15-year-old butts on the Olympics. Meathead. Time and a place, buddy. Time and a place. You can find his items at AmazingRibs.com. Uh-oh. I got me one of them there feelings. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Believe we are closed out at the moment. Encoding, success. All right, we back on? We're back on. All right. Beautiful. I hope that didn't just split up my video stream. I just split up my video stream. Somebody email me, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Let me know that we're still on the video set. Hurry. We will be coming back shortly for the second hour. I thought this heater would have fixed it's freaking cold out, man. I guarantee once spring hits, the connection will be a little bit more south. Although I didn't see any drop in my regular. Good, all right. Thanks, my man Phil Luswick, for checking in. We're all good. We're going to step away from the top of the second hour. When we get in, we got Sam Zion, Sam the cooking guy. We have Terry McKay from Git-R-Smoked. Plus your phone calls and emails if you want to jump in, 877-448-0433. You can also email the show, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Your choice if you want to jump in. I'm going to refresh my cocktail, and by cocktail I mean water. I suggest you do the same and get ready for a jam-packed second hour, which we will take into account here in just a few short minutes. You are listening to the Barbecue Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Networks.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how you going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan. So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shake a face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is the Barbecue Central Show. The show that talks about all things important to the world of barbecue and grilling. Recent destination, local destination. Well, I can't. Is it not on? I'm trying to find my damn printer. Network. That's the one I want. Print it. It's not. It couldn't be any more frustrating, I swear. I should be able to just hook right in and print upstairs and just be done with it, for crying out loud. Why does it want to do that? Bastard. If you're just joining us here for the second hour, you missed a extravagant conversation with one Meathead Goldwyn from AmazingRibs.com. We took into account a lot of things when it has to do with outdoor cooking in the cold. If you are in the Northeast, hell, if you're in Georgia right now, you're suffering from ice and wind and snow and places that typically you wouldn't find this type of brutal winter weather. Brutal winter weather. But you listen to the show, you're armed with information that's going to allow you to get outside, maybe right now, and smoke a rack of ribs before, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? Who knows? AmazingRibs.com is his website if you want to check him out. Where did I put this thing at? Coming up on next week's show, if my calendar will allow me to see it. Come on, get there. I'm telling you, it couldn't be more frustrating with this damn computer. Coming up on the show next week, the prophet of smoked meat himself, Daniel Vaughn, will be on the show. And a competitive barbecue cook, also a barbecue promoter, going for the sophomore year of the Smokin' at the Run barbecue competition in Miami, Oklahoma. David Qualls from the American Dream barbecue team will be joining me. That event coming up next month. A lot of people will use that as their first event of the year. So tune in for those two guests that are locked in currently, and of course we'll have other big-name guests as well, but that's what we have on tap coming up next week, should you find it fit to get into the show. All right, so I was trolling through some news. This was probably towards the end of last week, and I saw this particular story, and the headline got me: man paralyzed when relatives tipped over portable toilet in prank. Right, of course. I mean, that always... I mean, what's more funny than your friends, and in this case, it's this guy's cousins. So assume maybe you like camping. I don't understand camping myself, but maybe you like camping, getting out there and roughing it in the woods with Sasquatch and so forth. And you're doing whatever it is you do when you camp, and you come across a flat area, and, well, hell, there's a porta potty. Well, what's better than that? Nothing. Beats going in the woods, or however it is you go to the bathroom when you're in the woods. So you jump in there, and because you're out with your cousins, your two cousins, they want to have a little fun and hilarity with you, so they take the pickup truck that you have been riding around in, and they back it up to the door. Funny enough. And then they get out, start banging around on it and hooting and hollering, and because you think something bad's about to happen. Nobody does that typically when you're at the porta potty. Mostly because people that would be banging on the outside of the porta potty in a public place would be looked at as being ridiculous and stupid. But when you're in the woods, anything goes. So these two cousins are banging around, and they're pushing the porta potty, back and forth, hither and thorn. Well, what do you think happens? I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? Well, yeah, the worst thing that could happen is it falls over. And that's what happened. That's right. So now this guy is covered in whatever is hanging out in the porta potty. And unless you've never been in a porta potty, which literally you might be living under a rock, there's poop, pee, and spittle, who knows what else, toilet paper, various degrees, and whatever else finds its way in. Plus, there's all the sanitary solution that's in there. So, that's just dumping all out, all over this guy. Well, that's pretty bad. But gets worse. It seems that in the fun and hilarity that ensued with pushing their cousin over, he snapped his neck and is now a paraplegic. How about that? Get that big stuff out of here. Is that what they call adding injury to injury instead of insult to injury? Because the fact that you got pushed over in a porta potty and are covered with its contents is bad enough, but the fall or the tip over broke your neck, and now you can't use your arms or your legs or anything pretty much from your shoulders down. Quadriplegic. Wow. So what does any red-blooded American do at that point? Covered in stank and urine, toilet paper, potty juice. Your neck is broke. It's not funny, by the way. It's not. What do? Well, if you had use of your arms, you'd probably pull out your pistol and you shoot your cousins dead on the spot. And I don't think anybody would ever arrest you for that. But you can't, because you're a quadriplegic, because your cousins backed the pickup truck to the door and pushed the porta potty over and broke your neck while you're covered in poop and pee. Well, it would only seem to make sense to me that you would in turn go right around, hire a lawyer, and sue the porta potty company. Yeah. Yeah. Now, at first blush of the story, I was enraged that this guy who is now the quadriplegic. Thoughts and prayers, by the way. That's, in the end, that's terrible. Why would this guy go after the cousins? Well, as I started to read a little bit more and I could see a little bit better, he did also sue his cousins. But the fact that the guy went after the porta potty company is mind-boggling to me. No less than that, they settled out of court to the tune of $5 million. What? I don't know if $5 million is worth losing all control of arms and legs, feet, whatever else. But it's worth the discussion, right? Is $5 million enough for you to take a one-time tumble in a porta potty, get covered in all the nasty, and become a quadriplegic if you can collect $5 million? $5 million. I'm still concerned with the fact that the guy found it a good idea to go after the porta potty company. I mean, what did the porta potty company do? The guy saw the porta potty, went into it, and if he just would have done his business and walked out, that would have been fine. But his dumb cousins backed the pickup truck to the door so he can't get out, and they pushed it over. As you read through the article, you'll find that they said, well, it wasn't, the guy said, probably wasn't properly anchored to the ground. That's why it tipped over. Well, okay. I mean, if we want to split the proverbial hairs, was it anchored down? No. Did you tip it over? Yeah. I don't even know if we're talking about the same thing here. If you go into the porta potty and you use it correctly and you walk out, you can still use your arms and legs at this day. You would be $5 million to the poorer, or you would have collected the $5 million gain. But when you push over on purpose the porta potty, I don't know if you can go back to Portisand and say, hey, you didn't anchor that thing down right. My cousins were having the time with me, and the thing dumped over. I got poop and pee on me. Also, I'm a quadriplegic. I think $5 million would be sufficient for my turmoil. That's mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. Let me tell you what's not mind-boggling to me. Dave Bosco over at Butcher Barbecue. Hell yes. Dave bringing it strong in many different ways. Now, Dave, if you're in the chat room, you vouch for me because people are going to think I'm a liar. Let's see, this came 2 days ago. It came yesterday. Monday, I received a package from Butcher Barbecue because Friday I went online because for the big wing cook, I used all of my honey rub that I had left over. So I got on the computers and ordered a 5-pound... Is it a 5-pound bag? I think it was. 5-pound bag of Butcher Barbecue honey rub. Yes! Yes! So I'm good for at least another week. It's my favorite rub. So first of all, shipping was very affordable. We talk about it all the time here. It was $8.50 because my order was up to $55 or less. So it shipped for $8.50. It comes USPS priority. So I put the order in Friday morning. I had it at my door Monday night, ready to go. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. The shipping doesn't bust you up and make you think like you're getting worked over, and it comes to you super quick. So I'm going to be able to use the Butcher Barbecue rub starting like immediately, and it's going to last me for a good long while. Make the hurdle jump. Don't buy small. Dave's products are fabulous, and he gives you options on a lot of these things to buy in like the bigger quantities. You're going to save more in the cost per unit. You're going to save more in the shipping the more you buy, obviously. Any items totaling over $200 ship for free, so that you're not adding any additional cost at that point. Why not give it a try? Plus, you have the injections. You have the sauce, that sweet barbecue sauce. You have the bird booster injection, too, specifically for the poultry. Coming in many different flavors now, so, the biggest complaint about chicken is, it's just chicken. It tastes like chicken. It's kind of bland. This gives you the opportunity to not only add 3 times more moisture into the chicken, flavor, too. So now you can't complain and whine about only having flavor on the skin or just on the outside of the meat from the rub. You can actually push it down into the meat. ButcherBBQ.com. That's ButcherBBQ.com. Go there right now. Load up. Get to $200 or more and have it shipped for free. Save yourself the headache. ButcherBBQ.com. We're back with Sam the Cooking Guy right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
It's rather extraordinary, so your bus is commentary, a literary genius and a superior big creator have come together, and we made a musical composition which we think is a remedy to cure all the dance floors that's empty. You wanna dance? We got what you want. Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince buzzing out with a brand new funk.
All right, we are back. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. I think the thing that I wanted Dave to confirm is that I bought it. Like, I doled out my own cash for it. I'm not one of those hosts that, writes letters to the sponsors. Please send me this stuff or that stuff. If it's good, I'm going to buy it. Sponsor or not, that plays no part in my purchasing ability. I mean, if somebody's just going to send me something, I'm probably not going to say no. But if I'm out of something, I am going to make sure that I am, supporting the people that are supporting me. I guess I don't have any problem buying stuff for my sponsors. If I have to. Not if I have to. Because I want to. It's good stuff. If I didn't do this show, knowing what I know now and having tried all these products, there's a lot of stuff that I would go out and buy because I like it and I've incorporated into my regular everyday cooking stuff. When it comes to barbecue. We're out to Sam the Cooking Guy right now. He's cutting into his own time. Let me check one more name here. Sam. Yeah, see, I'm not getting any Skype stuff here. Who knows? It could be 5 degrees over in San Diego. And he could be dealing with a similar issue. Folks, if you have been wondering when, who's a Jelly Bean fan here? Let me tell you who's not a Jelly Bean fan. Me. Not a Jelly Bean fan. I don't like them. I don't like them. They're the devil's candy. The biggest name in Jelly Beanism, Jelly Bean world, is Jelly Bellies. That's like a top-tier Jelly Bean manufacturer. Are they manufactured? Distribute? Yeah. Manufactured. Jelly Belly debuts, if I may, Jelly Belly debuts first beer-flavored jelly bean. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank you. For more than 100 years, Jelly Belly has been a leading name in the in the jelly bean industry with flavors like buttered popcorn, toasted marshmallow, bubble gum, and now beer. Jelly Belly debuted draft beer as its newest flavor on Saturday, while the news comes only 1 month after its December release of its Tabasco dark chocolate flavor. The latest addition to the Jelly Belly family is one that has been 3 years in the making. This has been on the radar for 3 years, beer-flavored jelly beans. It goes on to say, our fans have been asking for a beer jelly bean for years, says Rob Swagan, Jelly Belly's vice president of marketing. This being told to Today.com. It took a few years to perfect, but we think we got it right. To pay homage to Jelly Belly's German ancestry, the company matched the taste of the candy to Hefeweizen Ale. Hefeweizen Ale? But don't add draft beer jelly beans to the cocktail bar just yet. No. The recipe includes top secret ingredients, but I can tell you it contains no alcohol, Ambrose Lee says, Jelly Belly's research and development manager. That was stated in a press release. While the details have some disappointed, others have taken to Twitter to announce their enthusiasm about the new bite-sized treat. Like, for instance, a woman walks into a bar. About time Jelly Belly unveils beer-flavored jelly bean. How did we live without this? How do we live with it?
Get that big stuff out of here.
At Chris Bader. Hashtag draft beer jelly belly. Weird. Weirdly good. Foamy goodness. Yum. How about that? So it's getting some positive reaction. My question to you is, A, do you like jelly beans? B, have you also been yearning for Jelly Belly beer-flavored jelly beans? I have to imagine the answer is no. I have to imagine that the answer is no. I thought buttered popcorn flavored like back in whenever the hell it was. Oh, see, he did it. Patio Daddy-O John Dawson did it. I can't believe it. In the subject line, Jelly Bellies, dare I ask, can bacon bellies be far behind? Oh, from my lips. Please, Lord, no. Or as Maria used to say, was that Maria? In West Side Story? Please make it no be true. Please make it no be true. I hope that does not come to be. That would be... We always talk about on the show, when is bacon pushing the boundaries of good taste and where does it end and all this other stuff. Forget that. Bacon jelly bean, there's probably already a bacon jelly bean. The beer jelly bean sounds pretty outrageous to me. Now, while that sounds outrageous to some, the Jelly Belly thing, this potentially even more outrageous. Husband who covered his wife in barbecue fuel, we call that lighter fluid, and sets fire to her hair after downing 2 liters of Lambrini, now jailed for 10 years. Thanks for coming.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Anthony Tyndall, 46, poured barbecue lighter fluid over his wife Vicky's head. The pair spent the afternoon drinking while they sat and watched television. They had been arguing before Mrs. Tyndall told her husband to shut up. Ooh, wait a second. She went into the kitchen and then felt the lighter fluid running down her back. The next thing she heard was a whoosh, and her entire hair was ablaze. Sheffield Crown Court heard the defendant was not previously violent. Those are the bullet points of this thing. I want to go out on a limb and say that this was probably in not Canada, but England. Can you imagine What is going on in your head as a human being? Human being. That you're, first of all, I don't even know what Lambrini is, but it looks like it might be some type of a wine or liqueur or something along those lines. It doesn't look very manly to be drinking all day. But, I guess, hanging out with your wife, that's what she's going to be drinking, and you're a raging alcoholic and you're just going to drink whatever. That might fit into the mix. So you drink 2 liters of this, which I'm pretty sure I could drink 2 liters of wine and not be, drunk enough where my wife told me to shut up. I think the next best idea would be to grab the bottle of Kingsford lighter fluid and apply that to her hair liberally and then ad-lit match just to see what happens. I think. That can get ugly. That can burn your freaking hair right off. And if you've never seen hair get lit ablaze, that stuff goes up like dry tinder. Especially on women that use a lot of hair product. The women that use a lot of hair product, that stuff goes up quicker than this little bug right here. The little bug goes up like quick. On the Green Mountain Grill side, Barbecue Central show, that thing spins around and catches a fire. That's what it looks like when your hair goes up on fire. Watch it here in just a sec. You'll see it go up. So this is what Mrs. Tyndall's hair looked like when Mr. Tyndall took offense to her saying, hey, shut up. See, there's her hair on fire right now. Is there no better option when your wife tells you to shut up after you've been arguing? I mean, look, you're in an argument. Things are going downhill. You've had 2 liters of Lambrini. Who hasn't? You're in a little bicker. Josh, shut up, Anthony. I'm going to venture that maybe his name was Tony. Shut up, Tony. Then, what? What'd you just say to me? Oh, hell no. But I'm about to be right back. And then go into the garage, pull out the lighter fluid. She's now ventured into the kitchen. Yes. Who's shutting up now? Who's shutting up now? You are, as your hair's on fire. Well, she's probably not shutting up, by the way. Screaming her head off. Oh, my God, my hair is on fire. You've lit my hair on fire. And then you go to jail for 10 years. So hopefully setting her hair on fire, because she told you to shut up during your fight after you were drinking 2 liters of Lambrini, was worth it. I hope it was worth it. As a matter of fact, I know it was worth it. Adam Pace, we're curious about why you were kicked off the forum. Oh, boy, Adam Pace, bring it in. I'm not talking about John Dawson, wait, hair ablaze, sports announcer voice. I think it's a hair overdone, Bob. Thank you. Thank you, John, for contributing. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Sam isn't going to show up, and if he did anyway, he only had like 5 minutes. So I will recount the forum story. Some of you know it. Some of you email the fun and frivolity of the forum story. And here's the bottom line. Back when I got my very first Weber Smoky Mountain, probably, the show is 6 years old, probably 9 years ago. My wife brought me home the very first Weber Smoky Mountain I ever got for Father's Day. Ends up being the best gift I ever got. I didn't know how to use it. And it came assembled, no instructions or anything. I said, well, I don't have the first clue. So I attempted to do something on my own. It was bad at best. And I said, well, I don't want to just dump it and be done with it. So I would love to know how to really use it. So I Googled around a little bit. You got to remember, this was like 9 years ago, so the internet wasn't like as advanced as it was even now. Technology grows by leaps and bounds. So I found this return on the Googles that said virtualweberbullet.com. I went there, soon found out that it was a forum specifically dedicated to the Weber Smoky Mountain. I was like, oh my goodness, holy grail. Signed up, started posting, asking questions, got a lot of great advice, ended up meeting a lot of people, some who have been on this show, some have asked to have been on this show but have declined. And my thirst for knowledge drew more and more questions out of me, and then as I started to garner knowledge and felt that I could contribute back to the newbies that were coming on, I was answering a lot. So I guess the long and the short of it is that I was doing a lot of posting. I guess there were a lot of other people that had way more posts than me, but maybe that there was a pecking order of how frequent you could post about barbecue stuff on this particular forum. And then I got a message from the guy that runs it. Said, hey, I'm paraphrasing. Hey, you're posting a lot. And you're chewing up my bandwidth, and it's costing me X amount of money, or you're adding to the cost of the site. Could you pipe down a little bit with the questions? Can you back it off? I was aghast. Because here I am thinking, well, isn't this the point of the forum? Interaction, returning visitors. I'm telling people I know about it because I'm, now that I knew how to use it, I was in love with this cooker. I was recommending it to everybody. Got to go to this website to figure out how to do, and there's a lot of great people. I thought I was kind of backpacking people in, and then I was told, back down with all these posts, and you're costing me money, blah, blah, blah. So that's the story with the virtual Weber bullet. And I said, you know what? That's ridiculous. I should be able to ask as many questions as I want, and I'm going to start my very own forum, and then literally that is the road pavement of how we came to be here at this very point, at this very night, right here on February 11th, 2014. I started my very own barbecue forum, which was a Barbecue for You forum, which then got name transferred into Barbecue Central, which subsequently I sold last year. But during the time of running the forum, I started the Barbecue Central podcast, or the Barbecue for You show, or podcast, whatever the hell I called it, which you can still find on iTunes. And then started the live show. Now, 6 years ago, just this past Thursday, as we talked about on the show last week. So, I guess, if you look at it in the glass is half full situation, me getting asked to, not kicked off, but me being asked to back down on my interactions with the group led to where we are today. So, thank you. That's the story. Typically, stories are a little less or a little more anticlimactic than you're building it up to be in your head. But to me, at that point in time, when message boards were the rage, I couldn't believe that the guy who was running the forum told me, you can't talk that much. You talk too much. Shut up. So I did. I took my ball and went home in a ceremonial way. That's it. That's the story. Hope you enjoyed it. Coming back with Terry McKay, talk a little bit about the Apopka, Florida contest this past weekend. Thanks to Sam Zion for joining me this past night. Sam Zion, no show. Let me see if I got a text message. I got nothing. Got nothing. Uh-oh. Meathead Goldwyn is, oh boy. Yeah, I know what this is going to be. You could have had me on. We could have talked about poor boys or whatever. Here it comes. Here it comes. No, nothing. All right, never mind. Folks, if you are considering automatic pit temperature control devices, why is my microphone coming undone? Bastard. You need to consider the people that have originated the technology. Barbecue Guru. Why would you buy from anybody else? I don't know. creators of this, the supreme leaders in automatic pit temperature control technology. You can visit them on their website, thebbqguru.com. You can also call them toll-free, 800-288-GURU. So imagine this. Maybe you're a busy working guy like me or woman, and you don't have the time to sit around and tend pit temperatures. What is that? What is that? Just kind of horrifically scary noise. Like ghosts. You can buy a Barbecue Guru device and enjoy all the benefits that come along with it, like being able to throw on some pork butts or some briskets, a couple slabs of ribs, set the pit temperature you want it to be cooking at, and then the Guru takes care of it all on its own through a series of microprocessors and fans, a bunch of different models to choose from. You have the CyberQ Wi-Fi, which is hugely popular, both in the backyard and on competition circuits. You have the CyberQ 2, the DigiQ DX, the PartyQ, which just recently got a facelift. PartyQ is $130, so for ease of entry into the automatic pit temperature control device world, this is probably the way to go, just to see if you like it. $130 is not that much. Runs on AA batteries. You can move it from cooker to cooker. It's $10 more if you have the Kamado-style cookers because of the damper at the bottom and the special flange that you have to get to fit that. But, once there, you're up and running, and it can go everywhere that you go. Why wouldn't you give it a try? I don't know. TheBBQGuru.com. Call them toll-free, 800-288-GURU. They will make sure you're outfitted with exactly what you need to get you up and running right out of the box. Barbecue Guru. A breakthrough in barbecue technology. All right, we're back with Terry McKay right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, we are back. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. My next guest just won the Apopka, Florida event this past weekend. Let's head on over to the hotline and welcome Terry McKay from Git-R-Smoked. Terry, how are you, bud?
How you doing, Greg?
Doing absolutely fabulous, Terry. Appreciate you making time tonight to talk a little barbecue with me. Before we talk about any of that, if I offered you $5 million, Terry, to become a quadriplegic and be pushed over in a porta potty to be covered in poop and pee, would you do it?
No, I wouldn't take that one, buddy.
Are we in the ballpark, though, money-wise?
No.
Yeah, no kidding. I was going to say no shit. That would be too much of a pun, though. Absolutely crazy. All right, so before we get into the contest this past weekend, Terry, maybe a little background about you. Is barbecue something that has always been around you, or is that something that maybe you decided to get into a little bit later in life?
Yeah, it was later in life. I got into it probably 6 years ago. Started cooking with a friend that had been on the barbecue circuit for a couple of years. Started out washing dishes and doing stuff like that, and never did think that I was going to ever get into a team on my own. Never thought I could afford it. Just the expense of it just seemed to be so high. But after a few years, just kind of eased into it. I cooked with Walter McDowell, Stump McDowell, for a while. He taught me how to pretty much do everything that it takes to get through a contest. Cooked with him for about a year and got to a point to where he said, "Man, you're ready to do this on your own." So he kind of booted me out and gave me a cooker. And 3 or 3.5 years ago, I started cooking on my own as Git-R-Smoked.
Did you feel at that point, after he said, "Hey, you've done everything you're going to need to do. You need to kind of turn out on your own and do it yourself. Did you feel ready at that point? Did you feel like you had amassed the skills and gotten all the learning curves down to get out there and do it on your own?
No, actually, I really didn't think I was ready. I went to the first contest, and I was a little more ready than I thought. First contest out, I was 4th overall in Stark, Florida. Second contest out, Haines City, I actually won my second contest on my own, and then just kind of took off from there. Started out, had a great first year, team of the year in the FBA. Second year did real well, won 5 contests last year, and this year we're getting off to a slower start than we did prior years. But yeah, it's just been awesome, to be able to do this on my own as a one-man band,
I was going to say, do you cook with a team, or are you typically just Terry McKay out there doing it on your own?
Yeah, typically it's just me. I have had friends from time to time cook with me, but 95% of the time it's just me.
Let me ask you something about that, because I always find it interesting. I have teams that are on the show that might have even 3, 4, 5 or more components on the team, and each one is designated certain roles within that organization, and from all accounts they seem to be running kind of hand in glove as a well-oiled machine. And then you have some other pitmasters like yourself and a few other ones that come to mind that are strictly doing it on their own. Do you find that on your own you need to be perhaps even more laser focused than some of the teams with the other moving parts, just because of sheer number and inability to multitask so much?
Well, I find any time that I've cooked with anybody else and split the categories up and done 2, usually it's I'll cook 2 and then a friend that cooks with me occasionally will cook the other 2. I'm just bored half the time. It's just not enough. I kind of get in a rhythm when I'm cooking by myself, and kind of everything falls in place. When you take 2 categories out of that equation, it's just not as fun for me. I just really enjoy the cooking by myself. I do like the KCBS format where you're every 30 minutes. In FBA we're an hour in between each category, yep. But you find yourself getting a little, sidetracked, with all that time in between the categories. But I just love cooking on my own. Nobody else. If screw it up, it's nobody to blame. Just really do enjoy it.
All right, Terry, so let's go ahead and take a look back at this past weekend. We're talking with Terry McKay from Git-R-Smoked. This event had big-name teams, both in sheer numbers. I mean, there was a lot of teams there, plus a lot of talent as well. In general, how does the cook go for you over the weekend, and was there anything that came up that you didn't really account for?
No, everything went smoothly. I didn't think it was a winning cook. I thought it was probably a top 10 cook. Nothing wowed me. I mean, it wasn't nothing that really, I said, wow, that's really exceptional. But my chicken's been scoring well here lately. I was able to win chicken there.
Yep.
I won chicken the week before in Winter Haven, but that was probably my thing I felt was the strongest. But everything else was just middle of the road, mediocre to me. So I guess the judges, I don't know if everybody else just dropped the ball or if I just had an exceptional cook and didn't realize it.
Have you found over the years that you've been doing this that when your food is average or fair to middling to you, that the judges like it more? I mean, typically when I'm talking to pitmasters, what they don't like seems to score well, and when they do like it, it seems to tank.
That's exactly right. That's how it happens when things are right on and everything hits just right like it's supposed to, and you think it's the best cook you've had. That's when I start to worry. That occasionally happens.
So you win chicken. Is it good to kind of at least get that first call, first category out of the box, kind of build that momentum, knowing that you're in it right from Jump Street?
Yeah, absolutely. I always have been a strong. That's been my strong category, and I always like to get a top 5 in that. And when I get a top 5 in that, it definitely gets you off to a good start and makes you start feel good about the cook. And I don't get a chicken call, and it's usually a problem. So that's my strong category.
Terry McKay joining me here on the show, pitmaster of Git-R-Smoked. Ribs, you do exceptionally well. Also, third place overall. I'm imagining that a lot of these things didn't really taste crazy in your mouth. When you got to pork, so second call again, so obviously feeling really well at that point. When you don't get the call in pork, I'm always curious as to where the mindset is with the pitmasters. I know a lot of you guys are super hyper competitive. It's 14th, so you're just kind of out of the top 10. But in that instance, when you don't get the name called, do you think, oh my God, pork just tanked completely and it could be down towards 70th, or do you think that it was good enough to be right around that top 10 and you'd be okay overall?
Well, I thought it was good. I've been doing something a little different with it, and it's kind of off the wall, and it could be a hot and cold kind of thing where it could be top 10 or it could be in the bottom 10 in the lower part of it. But I was worried. There were two other teams that were doing real well, and there was three of us kind of fighting it out for the grand for the top spot. And when you don't get a call like that, you kind of start to wonder. You start doing the math in your head, and you're thinking, worst case scenario. So it worries you when you don't get a call in that with that many teams. So
you get the 14th overall in the pork, and then brisket you get 4th. So you're probably right back to feeling pretty good about it, but maybe the pork is kind of dangling in your head. So as the overalls are being called out, you get closer and closer to calling reserve. Do you feel like that when your name isn't called for reserve, you have it in the bag, or maybe even a little bit before that, or do you think that pork really screwed you and now you're jammed up?
That's what I was thinking, because I don't know if you're familiar with Uncle Kenny reserved it. Uncle Kenny had two first place. He first place pork with a perfect score.
Yeah.
And when they announced that it's a perfect score, that a 200 goes a long way. When you pop out a perfect score, it goes a long way. And then you turn around and win brisket. And then he's not called. He wasn't called in the top 10. They get to reserve, and it's either you or Kenny, and Kenny's a strong cook. And then you think about, well, what the hell happened to the pork? And but then it comes through for you.
So, you're used to winning. You've been team of the year. As far as this particular year, just kind of getting out and getting after it, is it a nice win to get because of the amount of teams and the talent was there? Does it help build confidence as you start to roll out the rest of the season?
Oh, absolutely. We haven't had a win in a while, and to win this, I thought I could easily, possibly top 15 it. Get in the top. I would have been thrilled with a top 10. I come into the contest thinking a top 10 because there's just so many good teams right now. There were 50 teams there that could have won it. It's just Friday night. Normally everybody, you'll have teams out and about drinking, just having a good time on Friday night. This contest, nobody was out. Everybody had their game face on. Everybody was real serious about this. And, that makes you think too. You think, man, they're wanting it as bad as you do, and that there ain't none of them playing around, on a Friday night. So just really makes you cook a little harder,
Where do you have targeted next for the next competition, Terry?
We're in Haines City this coming weekend, and the nice thing about Haines City is that's where I got my first win. Then I went back and repeated that the year after, so I won 2 years in a row. I really do well in Haines City. They like what the judges dig what I do there, and I just I always have a good feeling going to Haines City when you win 2 back-to-back years.
You've been very successful in the FBA here over the years that you've been doing this, and you've seen the growth of the organization. Obviously, there's always a lot of talk about KCBS and the fact that they're the biggest and, blah, blah, blah. At this point, especially how things went down last year, both within the FBA for that Team of the Year race, it was neck and neck, literally coming down to the last competition, and then you had KCBS being down in that southeast region going to Calhoun, Georgia, which obviously there's a lot of FBA events that are going up into Georgia as well. Do you think that the FBA teams are finally getting the respect from other sanctioning bodies that they deserve now?
Yeah, I think finally do. There's some super strong teams. There's teams that could go anywhere. I mean, Dana Hillis with Big Papa's Country Kitchen goes out to Vegas and knocks it out of the park every time he goes out there. Damon Woolley. I mean, we really have some strong teams down here, and like you said, I don't think we've been recognized as that as being so strong until lately. I mean, there's a bunch of, you got Rub from Small Boys. I mean, there's some strong teams that come out of the South, down here and go anywhere. Rub went all the way to the regions in the Sam's Club. I mean, the thing is we can, a lot of times a lot of the FBA teams can go anywhere in the country and still do well. And, that's not the case when the KCBS teams come down in this area. We do better in their backyard than they do in ours, in my opinion.
Will you be making a concerted run for Team of the Year, Terry, or is that something that if it happens, but you're not going to go out of your way?
Yeah, I've done it once, and I'm satisfied with that. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to get in that race. I don't think this year. We'll see. I mean, I had it really jumped up this past week, or in the last 2 weeks. I really jumped up in the Team of the Year stuff, but I really don't think I'm going to be able to be a contender for that. If I can get in the top 5 and hover around in the top 5, I'll be satisfied with that.
Terry McKay, the pitmaster of Git-R-Smoked, and just coming out of the Old Florida Festival this past weekend in Apopka, Florida with the win. Terry, really appreciate the time tonight. Continued success, and thanks for coming out.
Thanks a lot, Greg. Appreciate it.
You got it. There he is. Terry McKay from Git-R-Smoked. Perfect timing, by the way, Terry. Way to hit the mark. Love it when a guest hits the mark. Nice, concise answers, not over-talking or over-drinking when they're on. Chad, no names, please. No names, please. I was just having a in-depth conversation with the folks over at iGrill. They're very excited about a couple different things. First of all, they got a brand-new product that I should have copy on next week to talk to you about. It's very exciting. Multiple probes, let's say. Multiple probes. Currently, and then there was that huge announcement that they made with Viking. They're going to be included in, home ranges, like ovens. The iDevice technology is going to be retrofitted into a whole line of Viking ranges. So if you can afford the Viking stuff, which I would love to, you're going to be very happy with. So congratulations to iGrill on that. Now, things that I can tell you about right now as it sits, the iGrill Mini is ready to go. iDevicesinc.com/iGrill. It's $40. iGrill Mini, everything you love about the iGrill, so much more, though. Smart LED that indicates the progression of your temperature, lets you know when you are in and out of temperature range. It's got proximity wake-up to conserve battery, and about 150 hours of battery life. Get all these awesome features in a pocket-sized device at half the price of the original iGrill. It's $39.99 for the iGrill Mini, and it comes with a meat probe and a probe wrap. Now, the iGrill magnetically mounts to your grill or smoker, even comes with an attachable magnet in case you have a ceramic cooker or other non-magnetic surface. Little product information on the unit itself. iGrill is a Bluetooth-enabled cooking thermometer that pairs with your Apple or Android device using the free iGrill Pro app, which can be downloaded in the iTunes App Store and the Google Play Store. You got about 200 feet of range. You can monitor your food from practically anywhere in the house. It gives you the free time to do what you want with the assurance your food is being cooked perfectly. Go watch the game, have a beer, have 4, throw up in the lawn. iGrill's got your food covered. You can also get the traditional iGrill for $79.99. It's got dual probe capability. You can monitor the temperature of your meat. You can also do the ambient temperature probe thing. iGrillinc.com. 15% off everything using the promo code CENTRAL. iGrillinc.com. And anything that's over $50 ships for free in the U.S. of it. Doesn't get any better than that. So hopefully next week I have new copy to read on the brand new product, maybe a little bit more on the partnership with Viking. We're back to wrap up the show. Right after this, stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Radio Network studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, we're back. 877-448-0433. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Well, I don't know what happened here, but I'm not very happy that the... What do I got to do? Was it... Where did it stop at? It stopped at 1352. Why did it stop at 1352? Nothing more frustrating than having the program that's supposed to record the audio for the huge amount of people to get the show on podcast download. Not record the show, which is exactly what just happened right there. Thanks for coming. Hi. So now I got to do some backdoor ripping of the sound for the video. That's all right. That's why we try and be redundant in the recording process, right? 877-448-0433, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Thanks to Terry McKay from Git-R-Smoked, talking about the big win this past weekend. And again, I mean, this is a guy, Florida Barbecue Association Team of the Year winner, won 5 grand championships last year, knows how to win, and at least to me seems to really appreciate the fact that I was able to get the win this past weekend and get a little momentum rolling. I mean, if you go back and look at the scores, perfect score 200 in Florida Barbecue Association. And if you go back and look at the scores, I mean, I don't know if he scored less than 192 or 193 points or something like that. I mean, he was really bringing the heat when it came to scores. And I think there was a pretty sizable point difference between first and second place as well. I think I would pull up the page that I had for reference, but yeah, I don't have that.
Get that big stuff out of here.
But he won. He did. Trust me on that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been on the show. Also, I don't have any explanation at this point as to what happened to our guest, Sam the Cooking Guy, that should have been around at 10:14. He was confirmed for the show. Man, I had some great stuff to talk about. By the way, $5 million was not a jumping-off point for Terry McKay for getting covered in poop and being a quadriplegic. I don't know. I think you can start the conversation. That's the jump-off number. That's where we can start this conversation. That's probably not where the conversation ends. What's the number? You tell me. What's the number that you would consider getting your neck broke in a porta potty and not having use of your arms or legs anymore? What's the number that makes it all right? $100 million? Billion dollars? $50 billion? Maybe there's not a number. That could be one of those things that's not a number. For me, I guarantee not a number. No. I will not take quadriplegia over money, ever. There is not enough money for that to happen. You know why, right? You know why. You know why. I know you probably don't, but you know. Quadriplegic, everything doesn't work. Everything. You know what I mean? All right, all the way back in the first hour, Meathead joined me, and we talked about, at extents, not a word, about cold weather grilling. We got into a little bit of the Olympics. We talked about wind breakers when it came to the less thick cookers. Weber Smoky Mountains, the char broilers, so forth, char grillers, whatever you call it. Then we also had a conversation with Terry McKay from Git-R-Smoked about the Apopka, Florida win this past weekend at the Old Florida Barbecue Contest, whatever. Huge number of teams, by the way, in case you're keeping score. Big show planned for next week, as I said. Daniel Vaughn from Texas Barbecue Monthly is in. And who else was it? Wow. Might as well have another drink because I can't remember a damn thing. It was, David Qualls from Smoking on the Run. We'll be talking about his second-year event at Miami, Oklahoma, coming up here in just a few short weeks. So look forward to that. If you have raw cast iron it, season it each and every time. Little Pam, little Crystal, little bake back in as it cools down. Also, September 11th, 2001, I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.